Hi, my name's Dan Corbett, and I'm the founder and managing partner of BlackIron Group. Today I want to talk to you and demonstrate the power of using Salesforce in the manufacturing sector. In this case, a producer of nutritional supplemental ingredients for other manufacturers. But first, a shameless plug. We are in our 15th year in business, and so for 15 years, we've helped customers refine their sales and service processes, extend their marketing reach, and automate and grow their business. That's kept customers and Salesforce coming back to us, and for that, we are very grateful. Particularly germane to today's video, we have 4 programmers on staff who are integration experts. We've helped over 300 customers integrate with their ERP for all of the major systems out there: SAP, Oracle, all the Sage projects, all the Epicor products. And if we haven't integrated to your ERP, I'm sure we can figure out how to do it, and we'd love to speak to you about that. Data can help manufacturers find, win, and keep customers. And since the 90s, manufacturers have invested heavily in ERP, and for good reason. ERPs help companies manage and track inventory, plan warehousing and floor utilization, and forecast and manage cash flow and equipment capital. But customer in an ERP system is typically just a reference. Using Salesforce and integrating that to your ERP takes that relationship and turns it on its head, making the customer the central focus of that sales and inventory data. And that can change the way you interact with your customer. Using Salesforce allows us to manage and track samples as well, a critical function for process manufacturers. Today, I want to demonstrate a scenario of how Salesforce can do that. This customer sells ingredients for nutritional supplements companies, like GNC and Vitamin Shop. Sales reps are out in the field often, working with customers on account management and relationship tasks, but they also build quotes and opportunities for sales inside of the office. Call center and EDI receives those orders, and those orders get shipped. That data is captured in ERP. We then integrate that and put it into Salesforce so that that rep can use that data in a continual feedback loop in the system. Let's get started. So this is a sample homepage of what Salesforce can look like for you. And again, this is a demo org, so I drew this myself as sort of an example. Understand that Salesforce is enormously flexible, and that we've got the ability to manage this and make this look like any way you want to. In fact, we can make it look different for different groups within your organization. There's a collaborative layer built across the top of Salesforce called Chatter. And Chatter allows me to talk to the people that I work with. So an example of a picture, which probably isn't that important, but here's a picture of something Peter Anderson sent me a little while ago. It tells me that United Nutrition, one of my customers, has a new product, BioX4, launching, and we should arrange a meeting with Lauren to go see it. So this is the kind of stuff we can go back and forth for in Salesforce. Typically, users just kind of use the universal search to find records. And if I type United into the system to kind of figure things out, it'll take me out to those records. Or if I click on the search, it'll show me all the records out there that fit my search criteria. In this example, I want to get to United Nutrition. And in United Nutrition, I see kind of this overlay, and again, just an example of what a customer record can look like. And you can see from this page that I've got details about my account, I've got my contact, I've got the opportunities I intend to work, the sales orders that have come in from the ERP system, I've got some sample data out here that we'll show you here in a second, and I've got what are called report snapshots that tell me how my sales are doing by category and how my ops are doing by stage. Now, I know that I'm going to go visit Lauren, so I want to make sure that I've got that in the schedule, but Salesforce offers a very cool tool, an add-on called Salesforce Maps, gives me the ability to visually sort of interpret and analyze that data. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, so just like the name suggests, Salesforce maps the data that I've got in Salesforce and puts it onto a map. But it's so much more than that. So this is a picture of my account, and if I hover over any of them, you can kind of see the name of them. There's United Nutrition right there up in Danbury. You can tell that my category kind of works up and down the East Coast. I do in Boston, Fairfield County, and Westchester. But as long as I'm out in Danbury going to see United Nutrition, let's go see the clients that we don't do much business with. I'm going to look at low volume accounts. And that's going to give me some more information on the map. It's going to tell me, with these 2 blue pins, it's going to tell me low volume accounts. United Nutrition happens to be one of them, so that's a good point that I'm going to go see them. And maybe I want to add another layer on that shows my prospects. As long as I'm in Connecticut, let's see everything that I need to see while I'm out there. And I want to take a picture of that. And so this pin, this yellow box, tells me that right smack dab in the middle of my trip is going to be a prospect that I should probably go see, Kathy Schneider with BlackIron Nutrition, as it turns out. So I've got this information basically put together for me. I can use this to plan, map, and sort of work my route. All right. So at this point, we're going to get out on the road. I'm going to show you what the mobile app of Salesforce looks like. Let's take a look at that. All right, so here's a picture of the Salesforce mobile app. This is the dashboard, kind of comes up as my home screen, but we'll get a chance to look at that here in just a second. Just like the dashboard app, or sorry, the desktop app, all the data that exists in Salesforce is available to me in my pocket. So here's the account we were just looking at, United Nutrition. I can see the information about them, the basic details. I can see anything that's related to that record, so I can see my contacts. For instance, Lauren Boyle is right here in the system, right? So I've got that information at my fingertips. But it's so much more than just reference. Reference is great, right? I've got the ability to kind of do some of that work. But I can also communicate, both record tasks that I've got in the system. I could do that here by logging a call or scheduling new tasks. I can create a new event. I can capture information. But the one I find most intriguing is Chatter Post. So again, Chatter gives me the ability to talk to people in the company. And so let's talk to Peter, who had sent me an email, and let's tell him that in meeting with Lauren, it's clear that she needs to look at a couple of products from us, period. We probably need to look at Lipo Wheat and perhaps Albio Life. Now, I'm not going to fix the spelling there, but I'm using speech to text to drive that information into the system. And so that Chatter post is now available for me right here in the system. Basically, it's going to tell me who I'm meeting with and where I am, and that data's obviously on the desktop since it's the same version, but it also got emailed or alerted to Peter so he knows that we're working on this. My point is, out in the field, I've got the database of Salesforce and CRM in my pocket, and I can use that not only as a reference, which is great, but as action support. So back in Salesforce and back in the office, it's time to start working on some of these opportunities and make sure that I've got the information captured. Opportunities tell me three critical pieces of information about a deal that I'm working, and I can capture that information, whether it's a long sales cycle or a short sales cycle, within the details of Salesforce. It tells me how much that deal is worth. It tells me where I am on the path, where I am in the stage, and it tells me when I expect this to close. Those three critical pieces of information help me drive the pipeline reporting and the forecasting that's so important to businesses. You cannot underestimate the value of this data as you put it together. And you start to see how that looks in terms of both reporting and with dashboards. But in this opportunity, I've also got the products that I've been working with. And I'm not going to take you through all this, but essentially I've got three products lined up against this record. I can also build quotes out in the system. And so if I click on this quote, I've also pre-built this. I can take that information, it automatically drives the products for me, it grabs that information, it loads it into the system, and I can even create a PDF to send to the customer. So when I click Create PDF, it grabs that information and draws it up on a screen. This can be much more advanced. I can have terms and conditions listed here. I've got a signature block. I can have our logo in the corner. But essentially, this box here lets me figure out where I am and what I'm doing in terms of the data itself. I can email this straight to the customer. I can save this to the quote, but all this information is available for me out there in the system. And that brings me back to where we started, here at United Nutrition. I've said this a few times, all of this is customizable, but it's also all reportable and dashboardable. Making up my own verbs here, but essentially I can take this information, and once I've got it in the system, I can start to capture things about the system and use that data for both analysis and for action support. So I'm going to look into a dashboard here. And on this dashboard, I've got pictures of data about the opportunities that I'm working, right? So my opportunities by stage by rep. I've got my activity data, who is sending out activities and how's that being captured. I've got lead information kind of put together here, but I've also integrated with my ERP system. And in my ERP system, I can tell what my sales by category are. I can tell what my sales by account is. And I can take those different pieces of information and line those up against the system. I can use that either on my mobile app, like as I showed you a little while ago, or on my desktop and use that information to drive business. I've got sales by rep this year or last year, so you can see kind of how that looks. I've got sales by account for this year and last year into a pie chart. All of the data that exists inside of the ERP, I can make available to us through these reports and ultimately through these dashboards. And I can use that information to drive the business, to make intelligent, data-driven decisions, and to provide action support. So where do we go from here? We'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to BlackIron Group by sending us an email at info@blackirongroup.com or by calling me, Dan Corbett, directly at 203-604-6765. You can also reach directly out to your Salesforce rep. We appreciate the time. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for listening.